There are a lot of estates and land here in Lagos selling with government allocation, where you see title, government allocation, government allocated CFO, government allocation / CFO. Particularly when you are interested in an estate or a land around Lekki Scheme 2, Lekki Phase 1, Abijo GRA, in the last scheme in Lekki, and also there is also a government allocation in Lekki also selling right now. So in case you are not very clear or you don't even understand fully what this government allocation title means, this CFO in view or thereabouts, in this episode of the Meet the Property Guide, we will be explaining what exactly is government allocation on the land in Lagos. We will be looking at the security of the title and the risks that are attached to the government allocation property. So if you are coming across a video like this for the first time, this Meet Property Guide property channel, and this is where we discuss everything real estate. That you want to buy, invest, or sell a property here in Nigeria. After watching this particular episode, you can also go to some of our previous guides and episodes. There are a lot of topics that we have covered already that you are going to learn a lot from. If you also be learning a lot from our videos, this is also another opportunity for you to also finally subscribe and join the family. So let's go into the topic. What is the government allocation title here in Lagos? In one of my previous episodes where we discussed about the CFO versus gazette land here in Lagos, I explained about acquisition and gazettes and how government often release some portion of land, some acres of land back to the community while the government retains some. Now, for a land being under government acquisition, it doesn't mean it's entirely out of the public. It's also still very, very possible for an individual or for a corporate body to buy and acquire a government acquired land legitimately. Now, what this means is that all the lands that are under government acquisition, most already have a plan, and some the government does not have a clear plan for it or a clear purpose for it yet. Now, for example, if the government have a plan to build an estate development and housing development for the public, they have maybe 15 hectares or 10 hectares of land under government acquisition where there is a proposed housing development to be built. An estate developer or an estate company can walk up to the government that we are into building of houses, we are into estate development, and we need 10 acres or 2 acres out of this 10 hectares as also location for us to build an estate. Now, since this particular purpose and this particular goal rhyme with the purpose or the goal the government have in plan for that particular land, government can look at the application, look at the financial capacity of the estate company, and decide to release 2 acres or 10 acres for them out of that particular hectares of land. So what the government are going to do is that they are going to allocate the 2 acres or the 10 acres for them to build that particular estate development or housing development that they intend to build. That's where the government allocation comes from. Now, also, if a particular land has been designated as an industrial hub or industrial estate, where the government plan to have industrial factories, industrial companies there, a tech company or a manufacturing company can also walk up to the government that we are into tech, we are into manufacturing, and we are interested in this particular land, so area where the government already have plans to build an industrial hub. So the government can also check the application, look at the capacity of the company, and also go there and allocate maybe 2 acres, 10 acres, depending on how many acres that the corporate organization are also applying for. They can also allocate for them, and the title that they will be given will be the government allocation. So before estate companies and estate developers started selling land around 2010, 2009, every land around the 90s and the 80s, you are either buying from the Omonile or buying from the government. All the land that were sold in Magodo Residential Scheme 1, Magodo Residential Scheme 2, all of them were government allocation because it's the government that sold it. All the land that were sold in Abijo GRA is government allocation because it's the government that sold it. All the land that was sold in Lekki Phase 1 are all government allocation because it's the government that sold it. All the land that was sold at Lekki Scheme 2 is also government allocation because it's the government that sold it. Although for this area that I mentioned, Magodo, Lekki Phase 1, a lot of buyers have gone to possess CFO on this land, and now some of this land have CFO or governor's consent. But initially, all those lands have a government allocation because this land is the government allocated those spaces for the people that bought it. Although now mostly, particularly in Lagos, government will rather sell to an estate company or an estate developer, and then the estate developer will start selling to individuals instead of maybe government selling to the public directly. You understand the history of the government allocation and what it really means, how secure is a government allocation title here in Lagos. Now, the government allocation title is very secure because before the government can allocate the land for you, they will have checked the purpose, why or what you want to use that land for. You want to use it for a residential purpose, you want to use it for an industrial purpose, you want to use it to build a school, you want to use it to build a place where people can live. So the purpose must have rhymed and must have been similar with the initial projections which the government have in plan for that place before they allocate that land for you. So a government allocation is a very, very strong title and is a very, very safe and secure title for a land here. The thing there is that is it every government acquired land that you can get an allocation for? Is it every land that belongs to the government that you can buy from the government? The answer is no. There are actually some land which belongs to the government, but the government will never release to the public. Even if you like apply for an allocation or for a application, they will not release for you. These are land where the government plans to build, maybe a land where the government plans to build a bridge, or a land where the government already have plans to build a hospital or to build something that belongs to the public. They will never allocate that kind of land to you. So regardless of what you also want to use that land for, if you apply for a application or an allocation for that land with the Lagos state government or with any state government, they are not going to release it for you. So it's not all government acquisition land that is open for allocation. And also, before the government can also allocate a land, that land must also meet their own projections and meet their initial plan for that place. So if they are allocating the land for estate development, that means the government already have plan to have house development in that area. If they are allocating a land for maybe industries or factories, and the government already have plan to have factories in that area. All the land that they are selling currently inside the Lekki Free Trade Zone are government allocation. Because also people that are buying this land, they are buying directly from the government, and it's the government that is allocating this land to them. In addition, is it safe enough to just have a government allocation on a particular property, or do you still need to go on to have a C of O after you even got that government allocation? Now the answer is yes. Most land here in Lagos, around Lekki Phase 1, around Magodo, around Abijo GRA, around the Scheme, that are government allocated or that are government allocation title, most of them already have a C of O or they have C of O in view. That means you also have to apply for a C of O after you've gotten government allocation. But the advantage of the government allocation is that the government have already taken you to the land and they have shown you your portion. So you just need to now perfect that allocation, that title to a C of O for you to now get it in your name or get it either in your individual name or in your company name. Now, another thing that you must also remember is that there are 3 ways to get a C of O. Now, firstly, is either the property is under excision of gazette, then you do a C of O on it. Secondly, is you have done a government allocation of that property already, then do a C of O. Now, the difference between government allocation and this gazette is that the gazette land or the acquisition land, the government have already released that one to the public, so the boards are now good to do C of O. The government allocation, this time around, you are buying the land first from the government, so after they have now allocated to you, you are now doing a C of O. Now the third way to get the C of O is when the land is already of freehold, like all those land in a pair, where it's like starts already C of O and something. Now those land also can also apply or process a C of O on that land too. So before you can apply for a C of O, is either that land is already excised or gazetted, 1. 2. Is either that land is a government land, but you have already bought it from the government and have allocated it for you, then now go for a C of O. Or thirdly, that land is a freehold you are now applying for a CFO on that land. Lastly, the government allocation is not for free. It's not free. Either you are an individual or you are an organization. If you want to get a government allocation, you have to apply for it and you have to pay for it. You are virtually buying that land from the government. You are going to pay a handsome sum for it. And that's also one of the reasons why most government allocation land are always a bit expensive too. Because these people that the government are going to require you pay the value of that land, and most of they are even going to charge you some taxes and some assessment fees for what you also want to buy. So government allocation is not for free. The process for you to apply for government allocation is mostly what we call ratification. So when you say ratification, that means you are applying for a land, a government land, and you want to buy from the government and want the government to release it to you as an allocation. Then from the allocation, then you can now start to process your CFO on it. Then another thing there is most land in the Lekki that are acquisition in process. Most of those land will still eventually fall into government allocation, and that's the risk in that acquisition in process. Because while a lot of people are still waiting for acquisition in process, a company or an individual can go to the government and apply for allocation of that land. The government will release it because that land belongs to the government initially. Most of those lands too, they eventually be going into government allocation. Some reputable estate developers that sold acquisition in process are already in talks with the Lagos State government on how they can get those land under allocation anyway. So that's also one of the things that you have to remember. A land is either already released by the government or it belongs to the government and you need to leave it. Depending on what you propose to do on that land, if it conforms with what government have in mind to do with that land and they are willing to still release it for you, that's when you can now go for an allocation. But it may now start to seem confusing when you see something like government allocated CFO, government allocation / CFO. Which one is it exactly? And I think some estate developers are just using this to confuse people a bit. Government allocation is government allocation. CFO is CFO. It can either have government allocation or has CFO. There's nothing like government allocated CFO. CFO is CFO. The CFO can either be from a gazette, can be from an edition, can be from a field, can be from a government allocation. It doesn't matter. It's a CFO. So a government allocation does not have a specific or specialized CFO. You understand? So if the land has CFO, it has CFO. That has government allocation, it has government allocation. So it's just for them to just tell which one is it. We've got the allocation when the application for getting the CFO, fine, understandable. We've got the allocation and we've already got the CFO, fine. Or we've got only the allocation, we have not started the process for the CFO yet because there are a lot of land, particularly in Lekki Scheme 2. Government allocation that is there, and that's a very good title for someone to sell also. So that's also one of the things that you just need to understand about this government allocation, CFO, governor's consent and all. Likely I'll still do another video, another episode where we will be comparing government allocation versus governor's consent and looking at what each of these titles mean. So in case some of the points that we shared here in this video feel like we need further clarification on it, or you have your property already in the government allocation and want to understand the next step and the next things that you have to do, you can also talk to us. You can reach us directly on our WhatsApp number, and you can also drop a comment here. I usually respond to comments, so I'll definitely respond to you. As we remain one property advisor, property consultant, Rabi Mustafa. If you have also learned a lot from this particular episode and you have been learning a lot from our channel, one of the ways that you can support us is just to get more people to view it. You can share, give us a like, and also subscribe to our channel. We need a lot of subscribers. We need that. So you can also be a part of the New Property Guide channel and also subscribe to our channel. Thanks once again. See you next time.